one limitation,
Okay.
but you can actually use the top right corner of minimizing that whole
Yeah, but
screen.
it either takes it away fully or it just
Okay.
ignore. Okay,
Well,
I think we are okay now. Can you? How do I go back?
so, are you presenting a PowerPoint presentation,
Yeah,
sir?
yeah, I'm doing a PowerPoint. Yeah,
You can then click on that PowerPoint.
yeah, it's
On
open. I've got it open, but
We can see you, the audience, and the PowerPoint. So we can see all three together.
okay. Let me just try one more time. All right, it's not moving. If I start.
Are you presenting a PowerPoint presentation,
Yeah,
sir?
yeah, I'm doing a PowerPoint. Yeah,
You can then
screen
click
is
on
not
that
moving.
PowerPoint.
Yeah, it's
On
open. I've got it open, but can you see? Okay, what I'll do is,
We can see you.
you know what I'll do? I will put in my phone as well. I'll log in on Teams and see if I can keep this phone for the screen for seeing you guys and work on this one. Let's see how that works. If I can manage it. Teams. Can you just send me the link one more time on my WhatsApp?
You have it. I've just sent it 2 minutes back on the
On the
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp?
Yes, yes.
Lovely. See how this opens. Okay, now that is a bloody problem. Echoing here.
You just have to mute that one device. Should be
Yeah,
fine.
no. So let me mute this device. I think. Sorry about technology, guys. I'm a little struggling here.
Sir, you can reduce the volume of the mobile.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can
Yes,
you
we
guys hear
can.
me?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Chalo, whatever it is now, let's just see what happens here. Okay. Guys, just give me few minutes. I've just received an urgent message. I just need to reply to that and I'll kick off then. We'll
Sure.
start at 3:15 on sharp, okay?
Sure.
Okay. Are we all good to go?
Are you ready, sir? Once you're done, we
I
can.
think so. Let me see what happens here now. Continue. Escape to exit screen. Why is my presentation not moving forward? Close this. Options.
I thought you're on the slideshow, so is
Yeah,
it
I'm on
not?
the slideshow. It should work.
Okay, maybe you can just stop it and press and once again.
Okay, can you guys see the screen now?
Yes, we can see the first slide.
Okay, lovely. And you can hear me as well. Yes?
Yes, yes.
So fine. So then I'll just work on this and let me see if this one works. Yes, it works.
Yeah. Okay.
Good. So we are good to go.
Right, right. So over to you, Captain Rakesh.
I hope the background noise here is not disturbing because I'm not at home actually today. I'm on holiday and
We're
away
fine.
with some family. So there is a bit of a background noise. So you'll have to bear with me if
We're
it is
fine.
disturbing.
Yeah.
If it is disturbing, let me know. Huh?
No, we are fine, sir. We are fine for now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir, can you please stop presenting for a moment so that we can start?
Okay. All right. I have to stop presenting.
Yeah, please, sir. Please.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Aditya, you can start.
Yes, sir. A very warm good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to the new episode of Knowledge Series conducted by IME Kochi campus. Thank you all for finding time and visiting today's guest talk on the topic Preparations for a Sea Career. Before we start with the session, let's remember the Almighty God and pray for His blessings.
നന്മയാകുന്ന കാന്തി കാണുവാൻ കണ്ണിനാകേണമേ നല്ല വാക്കിൻ്റെ ശീലു ചൊല്ലുവാൻ നാവിനാകേണമേ സ്നേഹമാകുന്ന ഗീതമോ എൻ്റെ കാതിലിണയാകണേ സത്യമെന്നുള്ള ശീലമോടെന്നെ ശാന്തിയറിയണമേ ഭൂമി അമ്മയെന്നറിയുവാനുള്ള ബോധമുണ്ടാക്കണേ ജീവജാലങ്ങളാകെയും ജന്മബന്ധുവായിടണേ ജാതിഭേദങ്ങളെന്ന ശാപമോ ദൂരെ മറയണമേ ലോകമൊന്നെന്ന പാഠമെന്നുമെൻ മനസ്സിലെഴുതേണമേ
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to invite my friend Cadet Babu Shrikar to continue with the session.
Thank you, Aditya. In order not to disturb the course of the guest talk, I request all the attendees to mute their mic except the speaker. Now, I would like to welcome our campus director in charge, Sri Mohammad Shaji, for the welcome address. Sir, please.
Very good afternoon, one and all. Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Good afternoon, one and all. I extend a hearty welcome to Captain Rajesh Tandon, the president of V-Ship Group, to this webinar. This knowledge series of dissemination has started in pre-COVID period, February 2020. Due to the COVID pandemic, we couldn't continue with the real seminar mode further. It was the idea of our VC Madam, Dr. Malini V. Shankar, to continue this knowledge sharing talks in webinar mode. And the target was one webinar every month. Since then, the School of Nautical Science, under the captaincy of Captain Vinod Naveen, has ably managed to arrange webinar on monthly basis. We have already conducted more than a dozen of this webinar during the past with experts on various subjects. The pattern of learning is no more constrained to classroom coachings. The Training Institute has changed the recipe to facilitator mode. The new dictum is learn with industry environment. This type of webinar give our students broaden their knowledge and enhance cognitive capabilities. Seafaring profession is no doubt a lucrative career. It requires rigorous educational training and genuine interest. Working at sea is a challenging occupation with unpredictable working conditions of long hours, isolated work, inconsistent connectivity to land-based resources, and high stress tasks. I extend cordial welcome to Captain Rajesh Tandon to enlighten our students on the topic preparation for a sea career. We have here a number of prominent persons from shipping industry. I extend a pleasant welcome to each one of you. IME campus directors, Captain Vinod Naveen, HODs, staff and faculties. I extend a hearty welcome to this webinar. I extend a warm welcome to all students who logged in to hear the expert talk. Thank you. Over to you, Babul.
Thank you very much, sir, for those kind words. Now, I invite our HOD, Captain Vinod Naveen, sir, to introduce our respected speaker. Sir, please.
Yes, thank you, Pablo. I think I've been given the most difficult task for today because introducing a person who's well known in the industry is always a very difficult task. But for you students, I think we have got the right person today. As you all know, Captain Rajesh Tandon is one of the best known names in the industry, not just at the national level, but also at international level. He's one of the most respected personalities that we have in the industry. I would say one of the very strong pillars of the global shipping business. Now, I mean, our topic on which Captain Tandon is going to speak is preparation for a sea career. But let me tell you, actually, it turned out to be preparation for a sea career and beyond. Why I say beyond, let me just substantiate my statement. And the positive thing is Captain Tandon has got deep roots with IMU because he is a 73, 75 pass out from TS Rajendra, now what we call as Mumbai campus. So he's one of our alumni, strong connection to IMU. And later on, with a lot of experience in sailing, he realized that he has got enough skills to go beyond just in sailing career, which made him move to a shore job. And he took up with V ships in 1988 as a sailing staff, as a master mariner with V ships, and later on he moved over ashore. And I think from early 90s, he had been sailing with V ships. And that is one strong point I believe the cadets should take out from Captain Tandon, of being in a company for more than 3 decades, staying put the sailing career, moving ashore, rising to the rank of a managing director in 97 and holding that senior position for 20 years is not an easy task. And now you can see that he's president of the V Ships Group in India and then the global director for industrial relations. So, and one more feather in his cap is during our National Maritime Day, he was in appreciation for its continued outstanding contribution to Indian and international maritime sector. He was conferred with the Varuna Award, the highest award in the maritime sector in 2018. So I think he is a live inspiration for you cadets, not just for how you need to prepare for a sea career, but beyond a sea career, because he has achieved heights both at sea and as well as ashore. Just to name, I need to use a small little paper piece with me because he's got so many key positions that he's held over the last 3 decades. So I'm going to use this small piece of paper to create an awareness among our students as well as those who have joined, to give you a few key positions that Captain Rajesh Tandon has held. He's been the director and past chairman of FOSMA, He's been a trustee with Seafarers Provident Fund Organization. He's been a former member of National Shipping Board. He's been a fellow of Nautical Institute, and I think very instrumental and a founder member of launching Nautical Institute chapter in India. And he's also been a fellow and an ex-treasurer of Company of Master Mariners. And I think today morning we were discussing about responsibilities of an employer and an employee at sea. And he's been at the helm of such thing. He's been a director and a past chairman of International Maritime Employers Council, where he has represented all that is required to the highest level, to ILO, to IMO, and has been instrumental in bringing out all this kind of negotiations for on behalf of the seafarers. So I'm sure I missed out many more, but I'll keep it as short as possible because today is the day we want to hear to Captain Rajesh Tandon. Over to you, Babu.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, without further ado, let's turn the time over to the speaker of the day. After his address, we have a Q&A session coming. So, if you have any questions during his talk, please type them in the chat box. We will bring them during the Q&A session. So, let us begin with the guest talk. Sir, the floor is all yours.
Good afternoon, everybody. And first of all, I'm humbled by all those things that Vinod said. I think it's all in a day's work. I just did my job, and I'm sure all of you, if you do your job, you can also achieve something. Also, what Honorable Director, thank you very much for the kind words, sir. What you said about knowledge sharing, I do not profess to be able to share any knowledge with anybody. The knowledge sharing experts are within your campus, your teachers, your heads of department, who mentor and handhold you and take you forward. All I will attempt to do is to try and share some experiences which seem to have worked for me to reach where I have reached. And it's all the good wishes of friends and my mentors and teachers that made this happen. So all I'm going to try and do is share my personal experiences, how a small town boy from school in the backwaters of Uttar Pradesh came, and like most of you, everybody is not from Bombay. I had not seen the sea or a ship before I came away, before I came to Bombay to join the Rajendra. So if I could do it, I'm sure all of you can. So I'll try my best to share some of my experiences, something that I've picked up along the way in my 30 years of career ashore and 10 years before that at sea. And if there are any questions, I will try to answer them to the best of my capability. So I'll start sharing now. One moment. Can you see the screen now, guys? Can you see the screen?
Not yet, sir.
What happened here? Present. Okay, does it look okay now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, lovely. So like I told you, I'm technology pedestrian, so you'll have to bear with me if things go wrong. So once again, good afternoon, everybody. It is my privilege, honor to be here sharing some experiences with, I don't know, at the moment there are about 80 or 90 youngsters who are aspiring to go out to sea, who've chosen a very, very good profession, a very, very challenging and rewarding at the same time profession. So I will try and do justice to the 30 minutes or 45 minutes that has been allotted to me, saving about 45 minutes or later for question answer as much as you want, or as much as Captain Vinod and Honorable Director will allow me. So I had prepared this presentation last year during the pandemic when I did the first of this kind's induction and sharing experience sharing effort brought about that time by the IMU Mumbai campus, and I have tweaked it for today's presentation. So let's start with a brief introduction of what the shipping industry is. Now, I understand from the organizers that there are students who are first year, second year, or third year, and even some who are waiting to get on board and they've completed their training. So some of this may be already common knowledge for them, but I'm keeping it to the lowest level of entry and trying to do my best to this. What is the shipping industry? The international shipping industry is responsible for the carriage of around 90% of the world trade in terms of cargo transportation. Intercontinental trade, the bulk transport and raw materials such as crude oil, various ores, coal and fertilizers, and the import-export of affordable food and manufactured goods would simply not be possible without shipping. The world shipping continues to expand and keeps growing in efficiency as a mode of transport. With economic liberalization, the prospect for the industry's further growth continue to be strong. And if the pundits are to be believed, we are looking at a growth of about 10 to 15% year on year over a long period of time. Like one of the ex-IMO Secretary General said, that if it was not for shipping, 50% of the world would die of hunger and 50% would freeze to death because they would not be able to get the required fuel for keeping their houses and themselves warm. As of last year, there are about 50,000 merchant ships from over 150,000 countries traditionally trading internationally, transporting every type of cargo. These ships are manned by about 1.8 million or 18 lakh seafarers of almost every nationality. Ships are technically sophisticated and very costly to build, and each ship could cost anything between 200 crores to as much as 1,500 crores. Operating merchant ships generates an estimated annual income of 375 million crores. And I would struggle to do it in how much you would call it in the Indian crore, 10 crore, 100 crore, Arab, Kharab, whatever it's called. Here is a glimpse of how the types of cargo movement has grown over the last 20 plus years. The scale is only up to 2017, but the trend lines follow the same pattern. And today we are close to 70,000 billion ton miles as I speak. This graph is from 2017. And this is from the UNCTAD Secretariat's calculations of 2017, which was made public in 2019. So it's growing in the right direction, which means good news for you guys, because you guys are going to be driving the ships that are going to carry these cargoes, and the opportunity grows in the same trend. Now, this is something that I'm sure all of you know, but I'll quickly talk about it. What are the different types of ships in the world merchant fleet? Container ships, bulk carriers, tankers, ferries, cruise ships, and specialized ships. Now, the specialized ships come in various shapes and sizes. They are tailor-made to certain trades. They are specific to the offshore industry. They are specific to cable layers for communication equipment. They are specific to wind energy farms, where you can have ships carrying cargoes, or support to the wind farms that are plonked in the middle of the ocean to utilize the wind energy for conversion, and so on. Here is a brief picture of the container ship. Similarly, you have bulk carriers that carry all the goods such as iron ore, coal, grains, and other foodstuffs in bulk. There are the tankers, which are oil tankers, chemical tankers, and other petroleum products. Then there are the ferries, which are usually on short sea trades from let's say, from UK to North Europe. I mean, some of you who are in Bombay would know there is a Ro-Ro ferry that operates between the mainland and the jetty on the Mandwa side. It takes cars from one end to the other, with people drive onto the ship and drive off. And that's how the term roll on, roll off has come about. Cruise ships, which is what a lot of people, at least people like me, got fascinated to come out to see, looking at TV serials or movies called The Love Boat, where we saw all captains and chief engineers and other seafaring officers dressed in whites and sought after by all the passengers. No pun intended there. Then the specialized vessels, like I mentioned, they are anchor handling vessels, offshore supply vessels, salvage tugs, icebreakers, research vessels. And as we go through time, more and more development and research is happening, whereby different types of ships are being produced, conceptualized, and developed based on need and supply based. These are some images of some of the specialized vessels that I've collected. Now I will come to the part that perhaps is more relevant to most of you who are anxious to look for a good job at sea. The worldwide number of seafarers serving on globally trading merchant ships was 16.5 lakhs in 2015, of which nearly 8 lakhs were officers and 9 lakhs were ratings. It is estimated that we now have 18 lakh active seafarers worldwide. By the month of, I think, June, July, the next manpower survey report would be out, and then the figures that I'm estimating now will be vindicated when we have the actual report. China, Philippines, India, Indonesia, Russian Federation, and Ukraine are estimated to be the 6 largest supply countries for all seafarers, officers, and crew. And at this moment, I'd like to just deviate from the subject of my presentation. I'd like you all to kindly have a moment of thought for all the people in Ukraine who are facing a warlike situation, which is not healthy for anywhere in the world, let alone for seafarers, because they will be the ones most affected. Because if they're on the ship and their families are, into trouble because of the war that is going on, well, my heart reaches out to them, and I send up prayer for those people there. Coming back to the subject, China is the biggest supplier of officers, followed by Philippines, India, Indonesia, and the others are listed there. Philippines is the biggest supplier of ratings, followed by China, Indonesia, and India. And the important part is the next statement that is there. The current supply-demand situation highlights a shortage of about 16,500 officers and a surplus of about 1 lakh ratings. Now, in terms of the target audience today, most of you, if not all, are aspirants of getting into the officer category. So here is the opportunity we are talking about. The government of India has come up with a vision to 2030, which talks about aggressive increase and supporting the increase of manpower to supply the global fleet. And the government is doing a lot to, facilitate the growth of this opportunity. And this is where the entire industry has come together, whether it is Indian flag ship owners or foreign flag crew and foreign flag vessels. India is becoming the place or go-to place for quality officers. The reputation your predecessors and most of your teachers over there have created the platform for you guys to launch on and capitalize and make the most of. So apart from looking after yourselves, you guys have a twofold responsibility. One, to ensure that the good name that has been built by your predecessors in the industry is not tarnished. And B, you create a platform for the future generations, apart from making your own careers, so that the opportunity that continues to exist and grow is capitalized for our people from our country. Being truly international in nature, the world of shipping, the ship owning countries, traditional ship owning countries in order of tonnage are listed here, and India is number 18. Now, one would wonder, being number 18 on the list, how come the opportunities, we are number 2 or 3 in manpower supply? And this is a testament to the fact that shipping is truly a global business. So I could be working for a ship owner who sits in Greece and working on a ship that is managed by a company, say in Hong Kong. So, the ship owner is in Greece. The finances could be sitting on Wall Street in USA. They could be owning the ship, which is managed by... Rahul, can you keep it down, please? Sorry about that, guys. So managed out of Hong Kong. And, it's the opportunity, ideal opportunity for Indians, more so because our language skills in the international global communication language, being English, is extremely useful to get ahead of the Chinese, of the Indonesians, even the Filipinos, to get the jobs for ourselves. So language skills are very important. Now, why I'm bringing out the subject of language skills is that if I share from my own experience, I belonged to Uttar Pradesh, I came from the Hindi speaking regions of the country. And at home, my parents used to speak Hindi, my grandparents used to speak Hindi, and the normal communication language was Hindi. Although I had studied English in school, the comfort level of being able to converse in English was not there. And on the Rajendra, we had a tradition. We had people from every part of the country. Somebody is coming from Kerala, some from Tamil Nadu, some from Bengal, some from Assam, some from Punjab, UP, you name it. The traditions the organization imbibed in us were that when on board the Rajendra, we used to talk to each other in English. It had a single agenda that we overcome our hesitation to speak in English when we are speaking to the people outside, and it helped each and every one of us to become confident in conversing in English, because when we go out into the big wide world, you may be working with people from any nationality, any ship owner. You could have a ship owner who's coming from, say, the example I gave, Greece. Now, English is a fairly popular language, and almost everybody in the shipping industry speaks English. So we got a competitive edge over our colleagues from other countries where there is not so much emphasis given to English at the school levels and in the conversation levels. So take that as a takeaway I would give to you today. Within your institutes, I know I may be having a fellow classmate from my own school, and the tendency might be to revert to Hindi because that's my comfort zone. But if we converse in English to practice our spoken English capabilities and prowess, it will help us in the longer range while on board the ships. I'd like you to keep that as a takeaway. And Naveen, maybe you can tell remind the people of the importance that conversational English is some of the biggest advantages our people have, and we should not lose that advantage. We have next we have the world's major shipping flag.
I think we lost him. We just wait for a minute.
Yes.
National flag is ideal. But if we were to limit ourselves to work only on Indian ships, we are world number 15 in the world. We would not be able to give the opportunity to our seafarers, the large population that we have, which works as an advantage to be able to get best people going out to sea. And therefore, it is equally important that we make our careers in the international trade and become a force to reckon with in the global business that we are working in.
So I think we've lost your slide. Uh, there was a small internet connectivity, so we'll have to present it again.
Okay. So I need to stop presenting first, I think, yeah?
Yes, we don't have your screen yet.
Oh dear. What do I do? Just give me a second, guys.
Yes.
My internet is okay. Can you see it now?
No, sir.
No,
Yes, sir.
not yet. Hold on. Can you see it now?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me go back to the slide where I was. Where did you get me up to the flags? You saw the flag side?
That's correct.
Okay. So let me go to this slide now. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So if I was to look at those statistical graphs again, and as I mentioned earlier, vis-a-vis the projection, the trade is expected to grow as you see over here. The green is the world seaboard trade carried in tons. It's going to grow at this rate here. The global economy is growing as per the red graph there. And the world population is growing as per the dotted line, which is a fairly steady and with a shallower gradient. Now, why I put this slide up is that while the global population growth may not be as steep as the economy and the trade growth, what it means for us in India, which is boasting of a fairly large population and working population, is the opportunity this is presenting to Indians to pick up on the job opportunity to be able to carry out this trade as it grows in the manner it is being projected by the year 2030. You may recall I mentioned the Vision 2030, which is the Government of India vision, and that particular vision has encompassed this global shipping outlook to be able to become aggressive and bullish in trying to promote employment opportunities from India. Then we come to shipping as a career. Okay, I'm sure a lot of people have told you whatever they've told you during your training, but what I'm going to talk about is my own personal experiences. As I said, it has been an emotionally and a materially fulfilling career for me. I came out to sea in my training in 1973. Next year I'll complete 50 years. So 49 years of absolute emotional growth, becoming emotionally strong, and of course materially fulfilling. And materially, I will not mince my words, it has been financially very rewarding for me to come from a lower middle class family whose father was a government servant who retired at the age of 58. I got the right education, I got the right coaching, directive and advice, and I took up this career. And with the grace of God, I have done reasonably okay financially, not only for myself but also for my family. The industry gave me a very solid profession for life. It was not just that I went out to sea, I served as a cadet, as a third mate, second mate, master, but then that was only the launching pad to come ashore and make my profession a lifetime of career were connected to the industry. So for me, and my advice to you is, have a long-term vision. Set short-term targets. What do you want to do in the next 5 years? Where would you see yourself in 10 years? What do you want to achieve? And if you keep repeating that yourself and be true to the targets, the small size targets you set for yourself, I can guarantee you, if you are committed to doing that, you will make this a career for life, and it will be rewarding to you as well. Many of my colleagues, my seniors, my peers, when I ask them, they still say that if I had been given a chance, I would start all over again doing this. Having said that, there may be less than 1% people who have scenarios and situations and circumstances which perhaps who may have a differing view to it. But by and large, and I can say it with a sense of confidence and guarantee, that 99% of the people who have taken this profession like to stay with this profession and want to stay here till the time they retire, or they move upwards, graduate upwards into more opportunities. It is a very challenging and a very rewarding career, as I mentioned earlier. You get an international exposure to all aspects of life. You get to meet different types of people. You work with different cultures, different work environments, working ethos. But above all, if you are true and honest to yourself and you have the right attitude, you can only gain from all the experience that comes your way. Shipping personnel are respected all over the world for their multitask expertise and their inherent professionalism. Now, this is a very important point here. From the day you complete your second mate's exam, and I think I'm just speaking predominantly to nautical side people, Naveen, or there are some engineering people as well? Naveen?
Yes, yes. We have mostly nautical only now.
Mostly nautical, but the same thing applies even for the engineering side. The day you finish off your training, you are a third officer or a second officer or a chief officer. You become a manager from that moment onwards. How many people of your colleagues working ashore become managers when they start the first independent responsibility? You are managing the vessel's navigation for 4 hours, 2 times a day. You are managing the cargo operation for 6 hours while you're on the watch. You are managing the safety and well-being of the vessel and the people during your responsibility. So you take on those responsibilities very early in life. It's not to be taken as only it's a watch I'm doing or a task I'm doing. You are taking responsibility, and that is where your expertise starts to build and your professionalism starts to grow. So the message and takeaway here is take the responsibility that is given to you from the day it's given to you. And as a responsible manager, you become the person who will grow by watching your seniors, by looking after the people and the material that you are tasked to look after, and thereafter your own character, your attitude, as well as your commitment will develop. It's an adventurous life, yes. I mean, do I need to tell you what is the adventure in the life? Every single day you wake up, today you've got flat calm seas, by evening you'll have rough weather. Your ship will be rolling, pitching. You will be handling cargoes and things which you've never done before. You have to read up a lot. The adventure is wholesome. You could be facing a new adventure every single day. The other good part about this profession, which particularly I liked, was it's a hands-on profession. You do everything yourself by your own hands. So in the parlance that we use, nobody can bullshit to you what has to be done because you have done it with your own hands. When you become captains and chief officers and superintendents, the second officer or third officer where you will be today, they will not be able to bullshit to you that what the problem was, because you have done it right from the grassroots level. The cadet time, you start learning, you start understudying your officers, then you start doing the task, looking after the lifeboats, looking after the navigation equipment, looking after, whichever cargo, the cargo equipment, handling the pumps, handling the tank cleaning equipment, and the entire operational equipment and hardware and software on board the ship. You have done it with your own hands. And that is what you should be focusing when you are in that position or rank, that you learn the job so that when you become a manager, you can have the confidence of being able to guide, mentor, and train your subordinates who work for you to make your life easier when you're in the senior position. Again, the fast promotions compared to your school or college classmates, this is what I mentioned. When you finish your apprenticeship as a cadet time or your trainee engineer time, you do your examination and you become officer and you are a manager. How many of your classmates from school at the age of 22 will be in manager position? I don't have to tell you that. I'm sure you all know it. You are away from your family and friends for a prolonged periods, though the tenures have come down substantially over the years. Well, my own experience, I can tell you, the first time I went out to sea, I was 19 months away as a cadet. When I asked for leave after 12 months, which was the minimum you had to put in, before you could apply for leave. Unfortunately, the person who was coming to take over my responsibility or role on the cadet on the ship couldn't arrive in time and the ship had to sail. So off I went on another voyage, 19 months. I'm not condoning what happened in today's day and age. I'm not proposing that you all do that because the MLC does not allow that. But life has certainly become easier in that context between then and now. Today, the Maritime Labour Convention has seen that when people are that much away from their family, the fatigue sets in and the contract periods have come down or the tour of duty periods have come down. Again, communication is difficult but has dramatically improved in the last 20 years. When we were out to sea, as you probably know, today you got mobile signals so you can talk on mobiles. I grew up at a time where even trunk calls were a challenge. So it is easier, but communication is a two-way street. Communication also has its advantages as well as disadvantages. So I will speak a little more about the communication aspect later, but it has to be used judiciously. Communication should be used judiciously when you are on board the ship. And in fact, if there are any parents also listening here, I have a word to share with them also when I talk about the communication aspects. It is a civil service, not a military service, but I think this is the closest it gets in the civil domain to have a disciplined and a regimented lifestyle wherein you have to follow routines strictly. Ideally, you wear uniforms, not because it is compulsory in all ships, but it instills a sense of discipline, responsibility, and following the regimented lifestyle. That's why uniforms are still followed by many companies. Equally, there are companies that have done away with the uniform, but I'm sure at the institutes, you guys wear uniform, and that is to discipline you in a manner that when you go on board a ship, you follow regimented lifestyles and responsibilities. The next point, multinational crew on ships acquire a wider understanding of other cultures. I think I already spoke about it. Yeah, it's a very satisfying thing when you speak to people of other cultures. Within India itself, you have, I don't know, about 19 states with 19 languages, and there are about 115 or 120 dialects people speak. So when you start interacting with the people, you are picking up cultures and the way the people operate. What that does for you is that your understanding and acceptance and tolerance of various cultures gets built up, and you are more adept at being able to work with any and every kind of person, howsoever different or difficult some of them may be. The ability to work with other cultures or the learning of working with other cultures helps you deal with people who may be a little awkward in a normal day and age situation. Now, career progression, I think I will skip this because if you've been already as part of your training curriculum, we've already started, I'm sure you know how this thing works. Pre-C from 1 to 3 years, sea service 18 to 12 months, preparatory courses, then you become a third officer, then second officer, chief mate, and then the master's rank comes in. Salary structure, again, I'm sure this must be the first thing that you all found out when you came into the institute. How much am I going to earn? But the figures here are a ballpark indication. A captain, I put down there 8,000. That's the lowest salary that perhaps a captain of a dry bulk carrier earns today. Specialized vessels, tankers, chemical carriers, gas carriers, LNGs is in the region of $12,000, $13,000, $14,000 as well. So work hard, find the right focus, and you could be in for a very, very financially rewarding career. What happens after you become a captain? Now, as in the social structure and the social domain within India, the way we live, we are a very family-oriented kind of an environment, culture and structure we live in. So a lot of people say, ki, when I become 30, 35, when I start having a family, start having children, I would like to be present when my children have to go to school. And in fact, it is mandatory because today in several schools, at least in some parts of the country, both the parents have to be present when their child's interview is being done for admission. So people think that it could be a deterrent. Not so. There are so many different opportunities that exist post sailing, and I've only listed out a few over here. You could become a ship owner. I can say that. I mean, there's a batchmate of mine who is a ship owner today, coming with a similar background. He's a ship owner. He resides in the United States of America. He owns 6 or 8 ships today. He's a ship owner. We have commercial ship operators, that the ones that do the cargo booking and chartering and so on and so forth. Technical management, the people who guide and work along with the ship's crew and the shore technical teams to provide technical management for the vessel. Crew management opportunities, manning opportunities, pilots, inspectors, government surveyors, faculty. I mean, you got a live example of all the faculty that you work with. They are all most of them are ex-seafarers, at least certain positions are. And then there are these international opportunities. You have opportunities in the International Maritime Organization, ILO, United Nations, BIMCO, you know, name it. I mean, once you get into the profession, you will see the various opportunities that come in. I mean, insurance companies, P&I clubs, hull and machinery insurance. So the opportunities are immense. It's for you to be focused, devoted, committed that what you want to pursue. Like I told you, set yourself short-term targets, 5 years, 10 years, where you want to go. Everybody's interest may not be in commercial operations. Some people are more technical minded and they may want to get into technical management. They may even go into classification societies to do research on new types of ships. So there is opportunity. It doesn't have to end when you finish sailing. You can move on and migrate, and then it becomes a natural progression from sea to shore. What can I tell you? Yeah. As I mentioned a little while ago, my journey started as a small town lad to here today has taken me about 48 years. Well, it's 49 now because this, as I told you, was made last year. While it has not been easy, it has not been difficult either. My advice to you today, and please, I would stress upon this particular point, be proud of your profession. Respect the workplace. Respect your seniors. And above all, display the right attitude. At every juncture, you will be presented with 2 possibilities, 2 choices. One, which is easy, and the other one, which is the right choice. The right choice is frequently not the easy one and fraught with hardships and challenges. It is the path that requires honesty, integrity, commitment, and above all, professional pride. It is these simple values and the right choices made you that have brought me here today. If I could do it, so can each one of you. About myself again, small town lad. I think this slide has got mixed up here. Yeah, so I mentioned about myself. I did not follow the BSc or DNS program. In our time, it was no such thing. We had a 2-year training program on the Rajendra. We went out to sea, did 24 months of sea time. We did not have preparatory courses at that time, self-study, second mates, and masters. Worked my way through that. The one very clear distinction in this particular line is that it is not only academics oriented. True, a large part of your training today within the academy or the institute or wherever campus you are at is going to be focused on academics, but that is only to get the basics about the job at hand or about the profession ahead, to make those basics strong and robust, so that when you get into the professional, where professional and vocational training is required, you have a sound ability to absorb the right processes, the right knowledge about the whole gambit, and that's where the knowledge transfer your teachers are trying to do to you today. The profession is hands-on. It's a professional career. It requires a lot of vocational capabilities, and with all this comes the professional pride that I've spoken about. Be proud about what you do, because if you are proud and you have your focused target setting, you will succeed. Teamwork. I'm sure your teachers and your mentors and your instructors are teaching you more about teamwork. Let me give you an example. You must have all seen derricks on the ship, in the at least in your classroom on the simulators, or if you've been lucky to do a ship visit. The guy who is operating the derrick or the crane cannot see the cargo as it is being lifted up from inside the hold. There is a marker man standing on the side guiding him. Hoist, lower, hold, slow, and he is totally dependent on the guy who is giving him those hand signals to hoist on. I mean, today's you could have walkie-talkies. The teamwork point comes in because the guy who is down below inside the hold, there is a 2-ton weight which is slung on the derrick's hook, and this man is standing down below. He has full faith in the guy who is giving the signal that he is looking after my interest, because if he makes a mistake and the cargo falls, you know what will happen to your colleague who's down below. So it is important that you work as a team when you are on board a ship. Your effort is the difference between him remaining safe or getting involved in an accident. So always support your team, just like your team members support you. So I think one single important takeaway is the teamwork requirement and the team spirit commitments that this profession requires. I spoke about making the right choices. I don't think I need to stress on that again. And I will read out the promise that we used to have in Rajendra. On the Rajendra, we did not have houses or sadhans like you have in today's day and age. On my honor, I promise to do my best, to do my duty to God and my country, to help other people at all times, to place my ship before my top and the top before myself. Now, we can twist it around to today's day and age, to place my country before my ship and the ship before myself, which means basically when I put the ship before myself, it is my colleagues, my bread and butter that the industry gives me. And therefore, if I am successful, my ship will be successful, my country will be successful, and my colleagues and friends will come back home safe. This is the change that I did, to place my ship before my team and the team before myself. Before I end the thing, I will just want to come back to the point I said about communications. I would like to stress upon on that aspect. All of us, and without exception, who come out to these training institutes are within the age bracket of 17 to 19. We have always been little children for our parents. We will always remain a child for them. Now, when you are on board a ship, if you have a cough and cold, I'm taking a very simple example, cough and cold. Hey, your chief officer, your second mate, who's the medical officer, is your guy, the person who's going to look after you. If you pick up the phone and tell your mama at home, "Mommy, I've got a cough and cold, and they gave me only Disprin or aspirin, and they did not give me an antibiotic," what will your mother do? What will your father do? They can't do anything, only fret. They'll get worried, they'll get nervous. The person who is responsible for you on the ship has this responsibility towards you. He knows what he is doing. He has been trained to do the job. By informing your parents or the people there, you are only going to make them more worried and nervous. If the health condition does require that your parents are to be informed, then yes, the captain will do the needful, because that is part of his responsibility. Everybody has a responsibility. Conversely, as you become older and you are grown up and you're a chief officer and your family is ashore, and if this one is for the families, if they are listening in over here, if the wife is at home, or this husband, I mean, today I'm sure there are lady cadets as well who are, and we must welcome the women into our profession. I think it's a very, very welcome transition and change that's coming in, and we should all support that. So if your partner or your spouse is on board the ship, and I'll use the example of a wife with a husband because it brings out a little humor as well. If the wife turns around and says, my mother-in-law, your mother is troubling me today. What can you do sitting on the ship? Can you do anything about it? Not much. You can try and speak to your mom. You speak to your mom, it can have two effects. Either she will listen to you, or it can have a compounding effect to the negative. So, to the families also, the message that I'm trying to bring out is to the families, tell the son only where he can help and just keep him for information. Don't burden, don't offload your issues from ashore on board to the officer on the ship. He has his own responsibilities. It requires focus, attention. If the husband, the one we are talking about, or the spouse, is going to be stressed about something over which he has no control, he gets even further stressed because of the helplessness of his inability to do anything. And that can impact his performance, his ability to do his job, his ability to remain safe and keep the ship and cargo safe. So, communication tools are available. Yes, use them judiciously. Use them as an advantage. If you're going to be, again, I'm talking to the younger generation now, if you're going to spend 4 hours with your girlfriend on the phone because you just got engaged before you left, or you're speaking to a fiance, you're not getting adequate rest. And your 4 hours of watch that will come in every 8 hours requires you to be focused. I'm not saying don't speak to them. Speak to them, but make sure that you are judicious in managing your time. Judicious that you give the commitment that the family requires, but equally show a similar commitment to the profession, to your job, to your responsibility, and yourself while on board the ship. Because if you get that right, then you got everything right. Thank you, guys. I think I come to the end of my presentation. So if there are any questions, I'm sure somebody would have been collecting the questions and asking me all the difficult ones. So go ahead, have a go at it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for such an enlightening presentation. I hope that everybody has followed, and I'm sure that each one has gained a lot out of this session. Thank you very much. Now it's time for the Q&A session. I would like to hand over the floor to my mate, Cadet Aditya Upadhyay. Aditya, over to you.
Aditya, be kind to me, please.
Okay.
Aditya, just before you start the Q&A session,
Yes, sir.
Captain Rajesh Tandon showed us about himself in one of the slides. Let me add that when you have a program like this, the organizers are always worried about time. And there is no better person time management than Captain Rajesh Tandon. He's finished it off in 45 minutes. It's not my first experience. I've had him speaking on few of the events that I've organized, and he's always been a speaker who kept to time. So anybody wants to know about time management skills, I think Captain Rajesh Tandon is the best teacher over there. And sir, yeah, as I think you just I mentioned at the beginning of the talk that this is a talk not just on preparation for a sea career and beyond, and I think you just did that. You took us right from the starting of a sea career to opportunities beyond. What are the opportunities that we have beyond sea career? So, and there were plenty of words of good advice. Plenty of words of good advice. I don't know how many of you have listened to it, but it was good of him to give him. And it was 49 years of experience that was speaking, and it is not going to come easy, right? And as he mentioned, to have people to give us those instructions. I mean, I'm sure in his time, he probably had nobody to look up on, but for you, we have somebody like Captain Rajesh Tandon to tell you what exactly are the plus and minus of a sea career. And sir, lastly, you had a few slides on shipping as a career. And one of the point that you mentioned is that out of the many people with whom you interacted, that they said, we will always like to go back to sea. You can include me in that. So now you've given me enough things that I'll probably start thinking it's time to go back to sea. Not simply because, as you rightly mentioned, it's a very satisfying career, very satisfying. I mean, thorough satisfaction at the end of the day. You mentioned about being independent and managing at such a young age. And absolutely true words, absolutely true words. You all are going to be given huge responsibilities in your hands at a young age, and I don't think anywhere else this happens. And very, very professional career. And as he mentioned, you need to take pride in being a professional at sea. I think that's very, very important. I also like to thank Captain Rajesh Tandon for this valuable time that is taken out of such a busy schedule, and that too, I think we have eaten into your personal time. Extremely sorry, I didn't know that you are on a holiday today. Extremely sorry for that, but thank you so much for coming and giving those good words of advice to our cadets.
It's always a pleasure, Naveen. I always want to give back in my own little way to this profession, which has given me so much. So if I can even help one cadet today with whatever I've said, I will feel satisfied that my time spent is vindicated and satisfied me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And Aditya, before you get on with the Q&A session, I will request our Shaji sir, director in charge, to speak a few words.
Yeah, again, good afternoon. Again, Captain Rajesh Tandon, it was actually amazing experience shared with our students. Yeah, Captain of the previous generation has conveyed his experience to the younger generation regarding the seafaring career, its scopes and all these things. I'm sure that our students might have acquired all this, what is conveyed to us in their future career at the sea. Of course, the sea career is a challenging and also lucrative one. Of course, that is a lucrative one, but you have to face so many challenges. And it is during this type of trainings, you have to acquire that one. You have to make foundation for that one. And that you might have got it from this talk, that I thank to Captain Rajesh Tandon for sharing his valuable experience at sea and motivating the students. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So it's time for the Q&A session. We have a bunch of questions in the chat box, and our first question is, how much Ukraine and Russia conflict will affect marine industry and opportunities?
I hope that this conflict ends sooner rather than later. That is our first wish. In terms of opportunity, I don't think, unless this conflict goes on for very long, it will have any kind of material impact on the opportunity. But definitely there will be, an upsetting of the balance, global balance of supply and demand, from which is being fulfilled from Ukraine and from Russia, vis-a-vis. The load will come on Indians, but unless the conflict goes on for, I don't know, 6-12 months, and which we hope not. I hope it ends tomorrow, because they are our brothers and sisters who are there. I have very dear friends. I mean, I was chatting with one of my friends in Odessa. I have known him for 35 years. He has been my colleague in bishops. So I am hoping that this ends tomorrow, and we really don't have to. Start thinking what is the opportunity or over here. Having said that, in the true spirit of professionals, if we have to fill in any kind of gaps that are being created because of restrictions for them to be able to travel in and out, we are up for the challenge, just as we did when the COVID pandemic hit. Crew changes were not possible. People could not sign off, or they could sign off and you could not fly out. The global seafaring community took up the challenge, and they supported. Not a single ship I've heard getting stopped because there were no crew available. They may have had to stop because of COVID, because the whole ship got affected with COVID. But the seafarers, I think they look beyond boundaries. But at the end of the day, we have to look after ourselves. And if there is an opportunity, we should take it up. But at the same time, let's not hope for this to be an opportunity to get jobs, if you know what I mean. There's a slight difference here. We pray that all seafarers are safe, because it could be an Indian seafarer who's in a ship in Black Sea, and if the Russian forces, if it's going to Ukrainian port, or the other way around, and an enemy warship bombards that particular ship, it will be our Indian seafarers who can also equally be affected by such a action. So let's hope this war goes away. And I don't really want to start thinking about opportunities as a conflict, as a consequence of war.
Right, sir. Next, we have a question from Captain Vinod Naveen, sir. The question is, what is the contribution, gain or losses of a seafarer in the 375 million crores annual income being generated?
Sorry, can you just read that question again?
Yes, sir. What is the contribution, gain or losses of a seafarer in the 375 million crores annual income being generated?
See, Naveen, that is a very, very difficult question to answer because the revenue generation is to do with the freight that is being collected. If you ask me if an operating cost of a ship is $1 million, what proportion of that is crew costs? I can perhaps be able to tell you, but because on an operating cost basis, for a tanker, it's about 65 to 70% of the operating costs are crew wages and crew related expenses. Rest of it is on technical fuel, blah blah blah. But revenue side, it's very difficult because for the same ship, I could have a freight of 100,000 or I could have a freight of 1 million. So it becomes very subjective and difficult to quantify. And this is a 375 million crores is actually a gross revenue that is generated by the number of ships that are currently trading. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
That's fine. That's fine. Yes.
Yes, sir. Next question is from Cadet Babu Shrika. The question is, can the Atmanirbhar Bharat or Make in India campaign affect the opportunities in the industry negatively?
No, I don't think so. I think that's what we are doing. We are making an Atmanirbhar. We are becoming Atmanirbhar in terms of training, in terms of providing jobs to Indians, even if it's in the international market. And that's where people in my role or people in similar roles who are working for multinational companies. I work for a company which is the largest ship manager in the world. I mean, I am responsible operationally for all the nationalities, trade union, and the employment terms and conditions. So we will not compromise on quality in trying to promote our nationality. And it's important that our people come up and compete with the global demand. I don't set the demand I will put 20% Indian and 5% Russian and Ukrainian. No, it's the client, the ship owner. He says, I want Indians because Indian seafarers are more professional. I want Russians because my ship is trading within the Baltic region. I want Ukrainians because they are trading in the Black Sea. Now, if our performance is so compelling that the owner wants us irrespective of the transportation or crew change, repatriation costs is higher. You understand, if the ship is trading in the Baltic region, for example, it's easy to put Russians because they get off and they go home and the costs are negligible. Transportation costs of flying the people up and down. If I have to send from India, I have to send him to Amsterdam, I don't know, UK, and then connect to the ship. So it's easily every crew change is $5,000 more for me. So if our performance is so satisfying for the client that they don't mind spending that extra money for the crew change, and that's where we have to do the Atmanirbhar to make sure the quality of our training, the quality and attitude and professionalism of our seafarers is unparalleled. We should become the nationality of choice for in the global job market, and that's what we should admire, and that we are all working to it. I mean, one such session is like this. Captain Naveen has called me. If I can share this and I can get that across, and if I keep my attitude right for the professional, be positive in approach, then you guys go and deliver it on board. I can't deliver it anymore. I can only talk to you. I can give you gyan. I can't actually do it. Doing has to be done by you guys, and you guys are the future of this industry. You guys are going to make the Atmanirbhar dream of our Prime Minister come true. So let's all pledge that we will do our best to make it happen.
Right, sir. Definitely. Next question we have from Cadet Gaurav Pandey. So there is a current surplus of about 1,19,000 ratings, 15.8%, with the demand only having increased by about 1% since 2010. Is there any effect of automation affecting ratings, and will shortage of officers will create job opportunities for us?
That's a very, very good question. The opportunities are going to grow, and my personal view is that there should always be a 10 to 20% surplus of availability or supply. I mean, I would like to use the word supply for human beings, but in the context of jobs, if there is a 10 to 20% surplus of availability of qualified staff, I'm not saying competent, qualified, that means they've got the certificate. It instills a sense of competition. If there is a 20% deficit, even if I have a piece of paper that looks like a certificate of competency, I'll be getting a job, because otherwise the ship stops. Now, that sets in complacency. If I know I'll get a job even if I don't perform, a sense of complacency sets in. But if there is a 10 to 15% surplus, any more surplus, then we have unemployment. Please understand, we do not want unemployment either. So a balance has to be struck in terms of supply demand, whereby a level of competition internally sets in, and that improves performance, and that in turn improves the perception of Indian seafarers within the global employer community. Indians are doing well. So those 20% surplus automatically start getting absorbed, and each one of us gets the job. So rating side is definitely a problem. And because, there have been, shall we say, not so honest agents and people who are trying to bring people from the backwaters and from the hinterland and from the tier 2, tier 3 cities who do not have full knowledge of the profession. They get attracted by carrots and flashing of Levi's jeans and Ray-Ban glasses and dollars and things like that, and they are brought into the profession without knowing what they are getting into. They are not prepared for it. They have and there is a huge surplus that has been created in the rating side of things. That's why we have a surplus in India as well. We are, as collectively as an industry, trying to do our best. We're even trying to see if we can convert some of the ratings into officer category at the junior level, at least for coastal vessels, where the international trade is not requiring the international skills, just very specific trade, so that they at least they get a job. They've come into the profession and they've been brought into the profession by these unwanted elements, but we have to try and help them. But the message that needs to go back, and we can all participate in, is, I'm sure we have people who come from tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities. When we go back to our hometowns, our villages, or wherever we come from, we should educate the youngster. Don't get carried away by these agents who come and flash all these nice pictures in front of you. Find out. The unfortunate part is that all the information about the profession is available on the DG Shipping's website, on the IMU website. Everything is there for you to read. If we go in with our eyes open, at least we are taking the right choice. I shouldn't be blinded and crowded by somebody just coming and flashing dollar notes in front of me that I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll learn this, I'll learn that. We hear so many horror stories where people have sold off or mortgaged their small farms to get the money to pay off this agent, to be left high and dry. They are working as slaves in Iran and all those people. It is happening. But just like we need to try and stop, the individual also needs to have a duty of care unto himself, that when I'm entering some place, I should not go blindly. I should see where I'm going. After all, when you go on board a ship, when you're entering a tank, you will take the precaution before you enter a tank, because you'll check whether it's gas-free, whether there's sufficient lighting. Otherwise, you'll go inside and you'll die, because if there's gas over there, you'll kill yourself or kill your colleagues there. So at each stage, even at the entry level, we should exercise duty of care unto ourselves and then step into the profession. Profession, no doubt, is very good. It's very satisfying and rewarding, but we need to be clever about it.
Right, sir. Next question we have from Cadet Sultan Ashraf. With the advance in technology, especially in seafaring, technological competency is becoming more in demand. Sir, may I know what specific soft skill set should the new cadets acquire to meet the future need?
See, you're absolutely right, and thank you for the question. You're absolutely right. Technology and use of technology is growing in leaps and bounds in our industry. There is no shortcut. You have to stay abreast of what the technology requires and what the skill sets required to operate equipment and vessels require, having that kind of technology available, instruments or equipment available. Artificial intelligence is there now setting in. The skill sets change, so we have to stay abreast and keep ourselves knowledgeable. We shouldn't think that now I have got my master's license, my study time is over. I don't need to study. If I want to have a job which has a fully automated navigational equipment, I need to improve my skill sets. there is enough availability of such or capabilities of people who will provide you this training. The makers will provide you the training. Ship owners will do it, but the desire or the motivation to undergo that training and skill change or skill enhancement or skill development has to come from within if you want to stay ahead of the game.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, there
Definitely.
was another question earlier which was asked about the technology about reducing the number of jobs. Yes, that's happening on the engineering side because with more unmanned ships coming in, the requirement of a fourth engineer from ships has gone reduced drastically. Only 50% of the ships today hire fourth engineers. So it is a challenge for it. There's a bottleneck created there because the supply of third engineers has to be, let's say, if there is 10,000 ships, you need 10,000 third engineers. But if only 5,000 of them have got fourth engineer slots, then how are we going to pump out the fourth engineers to become third engineers if there is a bottleneck at the supply side? That is an issue. We, as industry and as employers group, we are trying to do our best to provide alternate, kind of education or simulation-based classroom training to overcome some of the experience requirements that exist. But definitely that is a problem, and that is where people need to excel as fourth engineers to become in the category where the job comes in. Because fourth engineers are 10,000, 5,000, 10,000 feeding in from the trainee side, and then you need 10,000 when you get out of the place. So you need to work and be ahead of the game to be able to get promoted to the third engineer position.
Yes, sir. Next question we have from Cadet Ashwin. The question is, what effect has the pandemic had on the demand of seafarer?
Two things have happened. Some people who have seen some senior people, and I'm saying senior, when I say senior, it's 45, 50 and above. If they've had a long innings at sea and they have become successful and fairly comfortable, and if they've had situations on board their ship where people have had horror experiences of COVID, their families or there's pressure on them to think twice before they go back to sea and look for alternate profession. Equally, the ships have continued moving, and it was a challenge to get the people on and off the ship. There are people who I know have finished 12 to 14 months on board a ship at a time. Not the best of things, but in the larger scheme of things, it was safer that they remained on ship rather than come to India where the situation was so bad. Yes, we had to deal with the trade, with the MLC inspectors, with the ITF trade, but we explained to the ITF that this guy lives in a place close to New Delhi where COVID numbers are so high. If I bring him back here, where do I put him? He can't go home. If he goes home, he is at a bigger risk. So we extended the contract by 1 or 2 months, but not an ideal situation. But each case had to be taken on a case-by-case basis.
Right, sir. Next question we have from Cadet Emmanuel Alex. He's asking, sir, according to your view, what implementation and methodologies can be beneficial to the shipping industry in response to COVID-19 pandemic?
I wish I had a medical degree to answer that question, but all I can say is that if the government and if the medical ICMR, which is the Indian Council of Medical Research in India, suggests that we take vaccinations, take precautions, keep the guidelines that are there, and get on with your job, I think leave that to the Lord the rest, as it says. It's not that bad at sea because the seafarers are a healthy lot. We undergo our medicals. We undergo strenuous lifestyles. Physically, we are very strong and tough. So I haven't heard of too many sad stories from seafarers. Yes, there have been isolated cases where seafarers have unfortunately lost their lives to COVID, but not in the same percentage as people ashore have. Let me put it this way.
Right, sir.
But the pandemic is gone now, and let's hope it remains as an endemic and downgrades the pandemic thing. Let's hope it's going away, and let's not even look at fourth wave and fifth waves. I think let's be positive, and if we are positive, the positive things will happen.
Surely, sir. Next question we have from Captain Sujit Kumar Pathak, sir. He's asking, is the seafarer rights taken care by the present regulation in shipping?
Yes, the Maritime Labour Convention, I think, has been a game changer vis-a-vis the seafarers' rights aspects. Unfortunately, what you see in the WhatsApp encyclopedia is only the sensationalization on half-baked truths. Like anywhere in the world, you have the crooks and the people, but the number of cases of seafarer exploitation that existed 10 years before the Maritime Labour Convention kicked in and now has dramatically improved. And more importantly, what has happened is that the Maritime Labour Convention actually provides a regulatory arm or regulatory control to be able to stricture and penalize and even uh, you know criminally take sanctions against the people who may not be who may be creating these unfair situations for seafarers, or exploiting them to an extent which is not acceptable to the profession.
Right, sir. Uh,
Aditya, you have been bombarding Captain Rajesh with a lot of questions, but I can see there is one comment by Dr. Vasanta. You can read it out also.
yes, sir, surely. Vasanta ma'am is saying, you have included almost all topics, right attitude, time management, self-discipline, and fatigue mitigation, everything in a short span of time, along with motivation. Lot of takeaway from the speech. Thanks a lot. It was a very insightful session.
Thank you. Do I take that as a cue that we are done and dusted now? Okay, let's have one more question if there is
Yeah.
one.
Yes, sir.
Just take one more from the three that is pending. You can choose, Aditya.
Yes, sir. I'll choose Bharvi Tripaঠি's question. The question is, what should be the choice between working in an ownership company or a ship management company? Even I wanted to ask this question to you, sir.
In it, to me, I don't think there is too much difference. I mean, unless the employment terms, like in an ownership company, if you get permanent employment, that means you are employed not on contractual basis. If you are getting a permanent employment somewhere, definitely that is more preferred. But as far as there are various ways one can view it. If I worked for Shipping Corporation of India for about 13 years before I joined V Ships. That was an ownership company. Shipping Corporation of India, thankfully, had a complete type, vessel types. I worked on a passenger ship, container ship, bulk carrier, chemical, VLCC, OBO. I was lucky enough to get that kind of experience working in Shipping Corporation of India. But you could be working for a company which has got only bulk carriers, for example. Now, it could be an ownership company. Yes, they will look after you. I mean, my one case comes to mind is a company called Gear Bulk in India. They have a manager over here, but it's an in-house management, and it's like working for an ownership company. But your experience and exposure in the industry remains to focused on that one vessel type. For the owner, it's very good because he has the same people coming back. He has people who are proficient in that. But if you are trying to widen your horizons in different types of ships, then you should choose a management company which has a complete array of things. Important to check what is the reputation of that company. Are they committed to seafarer welfare? Are they committed to skill development and growth and education of seafarers, providing you the necessary tools to be able to grow professionally and in stature and in character? Then I have had absolutely no difficulty working for V Ships. 33 years I've worked in that company. I'll complete 34 years in October this year, unless they retire me before that. Uh, I've had no regrets of working for a management company. I didn't find any difference either. So it depends purely on what you want to do. If you want to focus on a particular vessel type, and specialize on that, I like it. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. Go for it, man. Equally, if you want to switch to complete, you want to keep your options open and choose 10 years down the line, you can still do that by working for a management company.
Right, sir. I guess that's all for with the Q&A session. Thank you very much, sir, for answering those questions. I believe that everyone got their doubts clarified. With this, we have come to an end. So I would like to invite Captain Rakesh, sir, deliver with the vote of thanks. Sir, please.
Thank you, Aditya. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, you're clear.
Yes. Good afternoon to one and all. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks and recognize the commitment of people behind this guest talk who worked hard to make this event a grand success. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to extend hearty gratitude to our speaker of the day, Captain Rajesh Tandon, sir, who invested his most active energy gracing this event. Much thanks to you, sir, for being with us today. Sir, regardless of your busy schedule, you could make time to be part of this event. We are beholden for your presence and enlightening speech. Thank you, sir. Also, I request you to kindly accept a certificate of appreciation from our campus. I just present it, sir.
How do I accept it?
Yeah, we'll send it by mail, sir. You can
Okay, lovely. Thank you so much.
see. Okay. A special mention to our respected VC, Dr. Malini Shankar ma'am, and our campus director, Mr. Mohammad Shaji sir, for being the impetus that propelled us to put forth a valiant effort and remain as the mainstays of power. I thank both of you. I also want to thank our HOD, Captain Vinod Naveen, for his immense support and guidance. I may likewise want to stretch out my genuine gratitude to Dr. Yogamala Madam, HOD SMM, and each and every one of my colleagues for being a part of this program. To wrap up things, I might thank each and every student present here in light of the fact that without you, the program can be so effective, and also for raising such wonderful doubts. Once again, I thank every last one of you for being a part of this program. That's all from my side. Thank you all. Over to you, Cadet Aditya.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wind up the session. Thank you again, Captain Rajesh Tandon, sir, for being with us today and sharing your valuable inputs with all of us. Sir, anything else you want to add on before we sign off?
I
No,
would.
nothing for me. Thank you. I just sent my note out in writing there. Over to you, Vinod.
Yes, sir. Just one last word. Next time you're in Cochin, be our guest, sir. We will
Yeah,
look forward
I
to
have
having
to
you.
come there. I have to come to see your campus when things open up, for the other project that we are trying to work with you guys, So
Yes,
eventually,
yes.
let's
We
hope it
look forward
happens.
to. We look forward to having you here, sir.
Okay. All right.
Once again, thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
your day.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Captain
sir.
Rakesh and team, for organizing this event. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Captain Rakesh,
Yes, sir.
we should also put somebody for taking this snapshots,